Metro Manila will be placed under Enhanced Community Quarantine, or ECQ, from August 6 to 20. To give us more details on this, we have with us IATF co-chairperson and Cabinet Secretary Karlo Nograles, now joining us live via Zoom. Good afternoon, CabSec. Thanks for sharing time with us this afternoon. One quick clarification on the guidelines. I understand that transportation will be allowed, but could you talk us through some of the other restrictions, such as maybe border controls?
Yes, if you notice the latest pronouncement, remember meron tayong NCR plus areas. So we will continue to guard yung borders ng NCR plus areas. And the reason for that is ayaw natin na magkaroon ng undue traffic congestion between NCR and its neighboring provinces. Kasi marami naman po tayong mga kababayan who live in the neighboring provinces. At what we want to control is magkaroon ng control sa mga neighboring provinces ng NCR+. So ibig po sabihin, right now, ang neighbors ng NCR is Cavite, Bulacan, Laguna, and Rizal. Di po ba? So what we did is Cavite, Bulacan, Laguna, and Rizal is part of the NCR+ area. So yun yung magkakaroon ng border control, ang Cavite, Bulacan, Laguna, and Rizal between their neighboring provinces. So this whole contiguous area ng NCR plus Cavite, Bulacan, Laguna, and Rizal will now be NCR plus area. At doon magkakaroon ng border control sa borders ng Cavite, Bulacan, Laguna, at Rizal.
Right, CabSec, thank you for clarifying that. Still on the guidelines, church gatherings are also not allowed under ECQ, but then personal care services will be allowed at 30% capacity. Could you talk us through the thinking here?
Well, first of all, this will only be until August 5, di ba? At kabuhayan kasi ng mga kababayan natin ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, which is why inallow pa rin natin yung 30% dun sa personal care services. Yung religious gatherings po kasi, we've already done it before na nagkaroon tayo ng virtual religious activities. So because religious activities can be done virtually versus personal care services that cannot be done virtually, at kabuhayan ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. And anyway, it's only until August 5. Kasi by August 6, then the ECQ rules will already apply. So that was the decision point na at least sa religious activities, pwede mag-virtual masses, di ba, for Catholics, halimbawa. Whereas ang personal care services, hindi pwede mag-virtual.
Right, CabSec, thanks for that. We recall that there were a couple of conditions from the NCR mayors for agreement, for them to agree to this ECQ. Let's start with this cash aid or Ayuda for NCR residents. Do we still have enough funds to actually do this during the 2-week ECQ?
If you're talking about funds for ECQ, we will look for and source funds. Because pagdating ng ECQ, marami sa mga kababayan natin are not able to work. And as you all know, when we do ECQ, government has to look for the funds to continue to feed our most vulnerable sectors in society na hindi makakapagtrabaho, lalong-lalo na sa marami sa mga kababayan natin. Pag nag-ECQ, syempre no work, no pay ang mangyayari. Although the difference lang here now sa ECQ natin compared to the ECQ before is that we've learned a lot already, and there are some industries that we've allowed to remain 50%. Meron inallow natin na full capacity yung mga essential industries. But just the same, marami pa rin sa mga kababayan natin who won't be able to work and who actually rely on work to feed their families. So yes, we will have to look for the funds for that.
Right, CabSec, given that hahanapin pa lang yung funds, if and when these funds become available, who are set to receive this ayuda specifically?
Well, the same as before, no? We've already identified. We've done this before sa Bayanihan 1 and Bayanihan 2. And already DSWD has the records of those who have received. And that's already been vetted, basically, no? Because vetted by DSWD, vetted already by our local government units, especially in NCR, as they were the ones who implemented the social amelioration program. So we very much already have basically a listing of those who received the SAP in the previous Bayanihan 1 and Bayanihan 2 social amelioration programs.
Right, CABSEC, let's talk about the other ask from Metro Manila mayors. Are there vaccine supplies? Are there enough vaccine supplies that will be coming to the NCR soon?
Yes, if you read the resolution, no, that was issued by the IATF, we actually already have an indicative number of vaccines, no, that we would want to ensure. For NCR, it's 4 million doses, and for Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna, and Rizal, it's 2.5 million doses that we want to ensure as we implement the stricter community quarantine in those areas. And hopefully we'll be able to secure that. So si Secretary Charlie and the rest of our vaccine cluster is working to secure that much vaccine doses. No? So that as we implement a stricter community quarantine, we will not stop in inoculating more and more of our kababayans in these priority areas.
Right, CABSEC, ECQ is scheduled until August 20. Is this a strict period that you're looking at, or are you open to extension should you see numbers not improving the way you want it to?
Alam nyo, we will have to look at this day after day after day. The IATF will monitor not just NCR plus areas, but the entire country. And when I say monitor, we will not only be looking at the number of cases, we will not only be looking at attack rate and growth rate, but we will also be looking at very closely the hospital care utilization rate, our ICU beds, our hospital beds, the oxygen tanks, the oxygen supplies, the medical supplies that we need, human resource, doctors, nurses, medical and the technical teams. And we will also be closely watching yung genomic sequencing natin of the variants, no? Particularly yung Delta variant. So active case finding ang mangyayari sa atin dito. Not just in NCR Plus, but in all the other areas. No? It's active case finding, looking for where the Delta variants are, looking for the presence of other variants. So then, of course, close contact tracing and everything. So we'll take it day by day, by day by day. Nothing is cast in stone when we say it's 2 weeks ECQ. It could, hopefully, we'll be able to control the situation. But that really entails everybody's cooperation here in this regard.
All right, CABSEC, thank you for sharing your time with us this afternoon. That was IATF Co-Chair and Cabinet Secretary Karlo Nograles.